Tonight is the biggest night of the NBA playoffs so far. Two Game 6s on the same night. Two series that could end tonight or extend to Game 7. Cleveland hosts Detroit at 7 p.m. Eastern, trying to close out and advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. Minnesota hosts San Antonio at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, trying to avoid elimination and force a deciding Game 7. I have 6 props backed by real box score data across both games, DFS targets for each, and a parlay of the night. This is a full deep dive. Let's get into it. Game 6. Cleveland Cavaliers versus Detroit Pistons. 7 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland leads the series 3-2. Cleveland is 59.7% favorites at home tonight. The spread matters less than individual player performances in a game of this magnitude. Closeout games are chaotic. Stars play 40-plus minutes. Usage rates spike. Role players go cold under pressure. That is exactly where prop value lives. Here is what Game 5 tells us about tonight. James Harden in Game 5. 30 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 11 of 14 from the free throw line. On the road. In overtime. By every measure, that is an elite playoff performance. But here is what the casual observer and most books are missing. He went 8 of 21 from the field. His shooting efficiency looked terrible. He got to the free throw line 14 times in a single game and bailed himself out. The public and the books will set his prop line based on that shooting narrative. They will look at 38% from the field and price him conservatively. That is the edge. At home in a potential closeout game, Harden's usage is going to be at its absolute ceiling. He draws fouls at an elite rate. His assist volume in big games is consistently in the 6 to 8 range. His points plus assists combined in Game 5 were 36, but in games where Cleveland needs a lead performance, his combined total regularly exceeds 40. The line will not reflect what his usage actually produces at home in a closeout situation. Prop 1. James Harden points plus assists over. The shooting efficiency narrative is misleading the market. His free throw volume and usage ceiling make this line mispriced. Max Strus in Game 5. 20 points on 6 of 8 from three-point range. That is 75% from deep. In a single playoff game on the road in overtime. That is one of the most statistically extreme shooting performances you will ever see in a playoff game. The number is not repeatable. Three-point shooting regresses toward normal aggressively after outlier games. Strus at home in a closeout will be aggressive. He will take his shots, but the efficiency will normalize hard. His points total is going to drop significantly from Game 5 because 75% from 3 simply does not happen twice in a row. Prop 2. Max Strus points, under. The Game 5 outlier is creating an inflated line. Fade the recency bias hard on this one. Cade Cunningham in Game 5. 39 points on 13 of 27 shooting, 9 assists, 6 of 10 from 3, 48 combined points and assists in 48 minutes. He kept Detroit alive all the way into overtime on the road facing elimination. He is in the form of his career right now. Tonight he comes to Cleveland on the road again, facing elimination again. Everything we know about Cunningham in this series tells us he will be equally aggressive or more aggressive tonight. His combined points plus assists total has been massive in both home and road games this series. The line will be set off his season averages, not off his current playoff form. That gap is the value. Prop 3. Cade Cunningham points plus assists, over. Back-to-back massive combined totals in elimination situations. The line will not be high enough to account for his current form. DFS for Cleveland versus Detroit. Harden is your primary anchor. Usage and free throw volume are the two most predictive DFS metrics in playoff basketball, and Harden leads Cleveland in both. Cunningham is your secondary anchor. Proved he produces regardless of venue or outcome. Do not roster Strus tonight. The Game 5 performance was an outlier and chasing it is a trap. Game 6. Minnesota Timberwolves versus San Antonio Spurs. 9:30 p.m. Eastern. San Antonio leads 3-2. The Spurs are 64% favorites on the road in Minnesota. They have been dominant. Game 5 by 29 points, Game 2 by 38, and Game 3 on the road in Minnesota. Wembanyama, Castle, Fox, and Keldon Johnson have all been outstanding. They are playing at their ceiling. But here is the elimination context that changes everything. Minnesota is at home. Their crowd will be the loudest it has been all series, and Anthony Edwards has never once disappeared in this series, regardless of outcome. Look at the data. 20 points in the Game 5 29-point blowout loss. 18 points in the Game 1 win. He scores in every game, every situation, every context. The narrative after Game 5 will focus on Minnesota getting destroyed and Edwards being irrelevant. His line will be set low. That is the most mispriced prop on the entire slate tonight. Prop 4. Anthony Edwards points over. Home elimination game means maximum usage and maximum aggression. He has scored 18 or more in every single game of this series. His line will not reflect that consistency after the team blowout loss narrative dominates the headlines. Wembanyama in Game 5. 27 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks on 9 of 16 shooting. That came against a Minnesota team that shot 38.6% and was completely disorganized. San Antonio scored 68 points in the paint. Tonight is a fundamentally different game. Minnesota at home, in an elimination situation, is a different defensive intensity. Wembanyama has shown volatility in this series. 27 points in Game 5, but only 11 points on 29% shooting in Game 1. His production swings dramatically based on game flow and defensive attention. In a competitive game where Minnesota is locked in defensively and fighting for their season, his efficiency will not look like Game 5. Prop 5. Wembanyama points under. The public will hammer the over after 2 consecutive dominant games. That recency bias creates the value on the under. Minnesota, desperate at home, is a completely different defensive environment. Stephon Castle in Game 5. 17 points on 8 of 11 shooting, 6 assists, 69% true shooting. Game 1. 17 points, 5 assists, 73.8% true shooting. Game 3. 21 points, 4 assists, 75.2% true shooting. This is the most consistent individual performer in this entire series across every game. He does not have bad games. His usage spikes in road pressure situations because he is San Antonio's most efficient scorer and their coaches trust him in big moments. This is the 3rd consecutive game calling Castle points plus assists over. It is hit every single time. The public still is not paying attention because they are watching Wembanyama highlights. Prop 6. Stephon Castle points plus assists over. The most reliable prop on the slate. 3 games calling it, 3 games hitting. The market has not adjusted. DFS for Minnesota versus San Antonio. Edwards is your primary anchor. Elimination home game plus maximum usage equals the highest ceiling on the slate. Castle is your secondary anchor. If you want the contrarian edge, fade Wembanyama at that roster spot and build up elsewhere. Full card tonight. Cleveland versus Detroit. Harden over, Strus under, Cunningham over. Spread lean. Cleveland at home in a closeout. Minnesota versus San Antonio. Edwards over, Wembanyama under, Castle over. Spread lean. Minnesota plus the points at home with elimination energy. Parlay of the night. Harden over combined with Castle over. Both backed by usage data the market is undervaluing after focusing on the wrong narratives from Game 5. Combine them if your book allows it. This is the biggest night of the playoffs so far. 2 series could end tonight. 2 Game 7s could be set up. Subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow morning's full accountability breakdown of every single prop. Drop your picks in the comments. I want to see who is on Castle with me for the 3rd straight game. Play sharp. Must be 21 plus. Please gamble responsibly. Entertainment purposes only.